checking for me, no one checking on me, so I had to go run up a check. I got the message, homie, ain't no flexing on me. My attorney gon' call and collect. Blessings on blessings for me, my successes only made them envious, they got upset. I had to put all their egos in check. I want the money, the power, respect, and I heard you know so-and-so, you not a threat, cause I really know so-and-so, they like my family, so they go pretend that they cool till they busted your motherfucking chest. I'm getting gutter, my flow been like butter, my check in the bank, they see the number. All of my haters feel one of two ways, really upset or they show some respect. I can't even think about it, I've been up, so read about it, no beat around it, straight to it, no ring around it. You coming for me, we'll see about it, we'll never see it when I kick my feet up. 100 meters where I run the fear, and go from singing on a monopia. I had to re-up on a reel, so you stay defeated, and put it back into the bit, cause I don't really need it. I heard they checking for me, no one checking on me, so I had to go run up a check. I got the message, homie, ain't no flexing on me, my attorney gon' call and collect. Blessings on blessings for me, my successes only made them envious, they got upset. I had to put all their egos in check. I had to put all their egos in check. You're not entitled to anything else. I get 10 years of this under my belt. Your art isn't art, they don't feel it, and nobody hears it. Initiative stay on the shelf. Your ego done got in the way. It gotta die today. It gotta go. You should be happy I lighten the load. The weight of your arrogance, heavy as stone. I make an appearance, they already know. That chip on your shoulder gon' crumble and fold. Yeah, it's not a secret that you have been fearing the shit that I'm on to you back. But I'm in a class of my own. I heard they checking for me, no one checking on me, so I had to go run up a check.
Oh gosh, it's so delicious. I just want you to hear as I crack this open. Oh my God, that is amazing. Okay, here we go. A little bit more. Fuck, it broke. You know how the beer, like you just try to be cute with it and it breaks. Now I got to push it. Son of a gun. What a way to start the show. You try to do something nice and the beer, God almighty. Now I have to MacGyver my beer. Hopefully everybody has their beer. There we go. There we go. Cheap beer. Tonight's beer of choice is You're My Boy Blue. Blueberry Wheat Ale from Florida Ave Brewery. So that's tonight's choice is You're My Boy Blue. Never had this beer, so we're just going to give it the old first sipperoo. That's delightful. That is a lot of blueberry right in your mouth. Nothing like some blue balls swirling around your mouth right before drone brews. That is delicious. That is delicious. Hopefully everybody is doing incredibly, incredibly well. Hopefully everybody in New Orleans is safe or at least has evacuated to safety. I know the hurricane is pounding that coastline over there, so hopefully you're all well. You have power, all that good stuff. Woo! We've got some stuff to discuss tonight. So let's go ahead and just greet the chat. We got Curve Drone Shots, Big Orange Drone Flyer, Atlantic Adventures, Emily S. Bam Drones, Drone on the Bayou. He says, might as well pass the time inside the hurricane here with y'all. Well, hopefully you're doing well and you stay safe. Got Chad Hammond. We got 73 FPA. Ken Torbeck's in the house. Bare Necessities, Aerial Photos, LLC. We got Paul Slapperg. What is that? Is that Platypus Dreams? What is that? Is that, platypus, like Perry the Platypus. Perry the Platypus. Okay, I got it. I totally got it. Aerial Engine, Johnny Drone Flyer. Hopefully you're doing well and safe. Brad Henderson, Fly Zone FPV. We got Flying Fin Media and many more. There are all 50 of you watching tonight, 54 as the totals climb as we start streaming. Tonight we're going to talk about should you wait for this little guy here, which is the Neo. It's been all the rage this past week, right? Everybody seemingly has been talking about this little drone. And I guess the lack of, it's sort of been a weird release because this is one of the first DJI releases where a new product has been released from DJI and it's not available here in the United States at launch date. Very, very weird. Not only that, you have to wait until October. They're saying the beginning part of October. I saw Amazon has finally updated their shipping to reflect the date that they should have units to ship. Very, very strange release for sure when it comes to products. Hopefully this is not a sign of things to come with DJI, with the battles that are going on in our justice system and back and forth between House and Senate when it comes to DJI, but have a little slim suspicion that that could be what it is. That could be. Itchy Sack says, welcome to the Brew Crew. Been here since 4 years. That is true. That is very true. Why does it say that? You've been here and you have the badge of honor to prove it. We may have to add another badge for whatever fucking reason we need to add another badge. All right. So let's start off with some somber news. House passed another revision of Elise Stefanik's proposed Countering CCP Drone Act. And for the very first time, she seemingly admitted to the fact that the whole purpose of this ban is to essentially even out the competition. Has nothing to do with national security or safety. No. It's just to level the competition and create a fair marketplace for American drone manufacturers. What a scoundrel. What a scoundrel. Leading everybody to believe that there's this huge risk to operating these aircrafts. So much so that you're willing to leave existing aircrafts available to us. Thank you so much. By the way, Elise, thank you so much. But not allowing new products to enter into the States and apply for certification. At least you were honest once in your entire political career. Thank you so very much. What a whack job. What a whack job. I knew it, and it's just so frustrating to see that, but there's that. If you want to check out that tweet she put out before she deletes it, I did screenshot it. Really, really stupid. Such a dumb person. All right, well, let's talk about the Neo because that's why you're probably here. That's what you want to know. Should you wait for the DJI Neo? And it's honestly a very complicated question because on one foot, most of the people that are here on this channel, you probably have an Avata, you probably have a Mavic, you probably already have a drone. There's probably nothing wrong with your drone. And then you see this little 135 grand mini drone, and you probably think, oh, I would love to add this to my arsenal. But there's a couple of things that you should definitely consider if you are considering waiting on this. Number one, the battery life on this is not amazing. I'm getting roughly about 11 to 13 minutes of flight out of a single charge. Now, it's rated for 18, but obviously, if you're flying outside, the elements that you are flying in will definitely depreciate the battery quite heavily. So that's the first thing to consider. The second thing to consider is it does not like the wind. It does not do good in the wind whatsoever. When I was in Las Vegas, it was honestly a struggle some of the days to operate this thing because it was so windy. It was just like I was running after it, trying to grab it out of the air because it didn't have enough power to make it back to me because the wind was that horrendous. So if you're buying this, just know that it's best suited, obviously, indoors. So if you're going to wait for this to fly this, it is really best suited for indoor, open space, indoor flight. That is what it's good at. It does do a fairly decent job tracking you as a subject and flying without a controller, just flying like a follow me drone. However, the biggest drawback with the DJI Neo is going to be the camera. When this first hit my hands and I first operated this and I was able to get video footage off of the SD card, I was in utter disbelief. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, there's got to be something wrong. Maybe there's going to be another firmware to correct this. I don't know. But the more and more I started talking to other creators, I started realizing that, no, this was a widespread thing. The camera quality just wasn't that good. I feel like a lot of people are saying because this is $200, what can you expect? I disagree because when I look at the DJI O3 Air unit, the O3 Air units for FPV, the image quality is pretty decent. And in some instances, people have actually foregone putting on a GoPro in lieu of the DJI O3 Air unit, which looks far better than the camera on the Neo. So I have been very critical on that, hoping that they can push out a software fix to possibly help the image quality. But part of me begs to wonder if the issues that we are seeing is a limitation of the processing power on board. You know, you're asking a lot, not even at the price point. Forget the price point. You're asking a lot out of something so small. So you're asking a lot out of something so small. So I have to also be mindful of that. For the size of this, it is doing a tremendous amount of processing. It is doing a lot. But the camera is just not good. So if you're buying it because you want to have fun with it. You're buying it because it's going to be a toy first. And, you know, anything that you want to post secondary. I mean, that's honestly the best way I can put it. Hopefully they'll be able to address the camera. I feel like some of the issues with the camera, they will be able to address with software. At the very least, it'd be cool to see them give us better manual controls of the camera. And that way we can maybe get the camera a little closer to a better image than what is right out of the box and, you know, what we get onto the storage. So I'm not really 100% sure if it's a thing that they're doing to limit how much storage space it takes up, because not having expandable storage and only 22 gigs of storage, I can't help but think, like, would 32 gigs of storage cost that much more to add? I would have been fine paying like $15, $20 more if you gave it 32 gigs of storage at the very least. I think that would have made more sense than 22 gigs of storage. That's just so weird. So weird. So very weird. Let me jump in here to the chat. See. I see TJ's here now. Ken, can you take on this Neo or the Avata versus maybe this the Skylight? The Skylight seems to be more pro than ever. The Skylight. I'm not familiar with this the Skylight. You'd have to link me to it so I could take a look at it. The bottom vision position sensors don't perform well in low light and switch to ADI mode and land. So you need to ensure you're in a well-lit area. So the couple of times that I have flown this, I haven't had an issue with it landing, at least with the FPV controller. That's not to say that it may operate a little bit differently when you are operating it over your mobile device or the RCN3. That I could not say one way or the other how that would perform. I did have this during testing. While I was testing this in one of the houses, I was like peeking around the corner, like trying to like get the drone to come around the corner, and I just stuck my head around the corner, and the freaking Neo just literally darted right at me and hit the wall and tumbled and crashed. You know, for however many times I've crashed this, which feels like 10, 20 times at this point, I mean, I have very limited damage to it, so it does survive. I'm just now seeing that the ducts are like separating from making impacts. So that was the first thing. Obviously, I've got him covered up now with the Snug Riders, but yeah, I mean, very, very durable little thing. Oh, okay, so it's from Rotor Rider. I haven't looked at their store in a while. Ever since I've really gotten away from flying like traditional FPV stuff, I wouldn't say I've gotten away. I just don't have time to do it, because if you break stuff or you got to build it, it's such a pain in the ass, and I don't have time for that anymore. So if it's not already built, I'm not flying it, but I'll have to check it out. I'll take a look at the Skylight and see what that is. Let me look at it now. Let me see what that actually is right now while I'm here. Let me open up a new window. Let's go to Rotor Riot. Come on, man. I don't know why it always does that. Let me go to Rotor Riot's website, rotorriot.com. Let me see what this drone you are referring to is. Let's see. So you're saying it's the Skylight. Ready to fly FPV drones. Ready to ship drones. Let's see. Oh, I see what you're talking about. I mean, if I'm just being completely honest, the Skylight is just basically, in my opinion, it's just another FPV drone. It's got DJI 03 on there. It looks to me more like a Shendrone Squirt than anything. I mean, there's nothing special about that. It's an FPV drone. That's it. There's literally nothing special about this at all. So there's no reason to compare it because it doesn't compare. It's not the same as something like a Neo or a Nevada. I mean, if you're wanting something a little bit more built, I guess, or user repairable or more traditional FPV, then yeah. But I mean, at $680, that is a hell of a premium. You can probably build something like that for like $500 or a little bit less, possibly, depending on what components you used. HD drone built in the US. That's how they're advertising that. HD drone built in the US. Interesting. All right, let me jump back in here, chat. I cannot wait to test that Neo. Yeah, it is a fun little aircraft to fly. It is fun. I mean, you just got to know how to use it, right? It's not an acro drone. It's really just fun, just shooting gaps. Like if you want to use it as a gap drone and just push it in areas where you normally wouldn't push a drone, that is what it's really best suited for, in my opinion. That is what it does best. They have a build your own version. Yeah, I mean, the Skylight, Chad, I mean, it's okay. I mean, but I don't know. I think you can source a build. I mean, there's other Cinewhoops that are going to be a little bit more cost effective in my opinion. The general problem is that the Neo is trying to do everything. It is a jack of all trades. It is trying to appeal to many. And I mean, if you think about it, this is the first time DJI has ever released a drone that can be flown so many different ways. You can fly it without an RC. You can fly it without a mobile phone. You can fly it with your phone. You can fly it with the RC N3. I'm hearing now, according to Lon, you can fly it with the RC2, which that's pretty wild. You can fly it with the motion controller, and you can fly it with the FPV RC3. So that's 6 different ways you can operate the Neo, and it really is a drone that appeals to many, many types of pilots, which I think is really interesting. And that's probably why it became so popular so fast. Remember when the DJI Mini 3 first launched? Let me reverse that. When the DJI Mini, the first Mini launched, the very first DJI Mini drone launched, people were freaking going nuts over this drone. It was probably DJI's most popular drone. It was its most affordable, the most capable at the price and size at the time, and people were losing their minds. Even though if you had like a Mavic 2 or an Air 2S, you were like, I don't really see the point in this. But people were still buying this little drone and they were completely enamored. It was the most popular drone. And I feel like the Neo is that now because it appeals to so many different people. And as people progress in their hobby, they can navigate to different avenues. They want to try FPV. The Neo is a great tool to be able to learn FPV. It's a fantastic tool because it is really hard to break it. And because it is slightly underpowered, it's good for a beginner, in my opinion, when it comes to FPV. You're not going to hurt somebody. You're probably not going to damage it if you fly it in an open field. You may lose it, but you're not going to damage it and you're not going to hurt anybody. So that's where I think that this thing really succeeds. Granted, you have to still buy goggles. You have to buy an RC. And people were saying, like, I read so many comments, well, you still got to buy goggles in the RC. No shit, you still have to buy goggles in an RC if you built an FPV drone to learn. So there's no difference. You still have to buy those components if you were building a drone anyhow. So what does that matter? You still got to buy those things. You're not going to buy any drone of that size or that caliber for $200. It does not exist. This is the only thing that exists. Granted, it's not available here in the States yet, but when it becomes available, it's going to be the only thing at that price point and capability. The only thing, which is sort of wild. You can fly it with sock while on rocks. No idea what the fuck you just said there. That makes absolutely no sense. I want you to speak English. Speak English, please. You can fly it anywhere with any hair. You know what? Fuck you, pilot man. I'm tired of your fucking your rhymes. I don't even like your name. I don't even like your name. You're over here rhyming like you're Rumpelstiltskin or some shit. Not on my stream. Not on my stream, you stupid fuck. Adios. Nobody rhymes on my stream. Nobody rhymes on my stream. Never. rhyme on my stream. Disrespectful little degenerate. You're hidden. Nobody can see you. You can overhear. You can type whatever you want. You can say whatever you think, but nobody's going to see you because you stink, you bum. You bum. Fucking I don't like Dr. Seuss. I don't even like green eggs and ham. I don't like none of it. So he can take that elsewhere. You freaking jackass. Enchanted Life Path asked, is it worth the wait? If you don't have a drone and you want something fun or you plan on learning how to fly FPV, then yes, absolutely, it is worth the wait. And for $200, think about all the dumb things that you can spend $200 on. Think about what you can spend $200 on. It costs more to do a champagne room in Las Vegas than the Neo costs. My red light camera ticket costs more than the Neo does. The Neo is still cheaper than a $225 divorce in the state of Florida. My tangible property tax was more than a Neo by $63. There are so many things that are cheaper than the DJI Neo for what it does. It's amazing. If you're gonna blow money, you might as well blow money on something fun. This if you think about it like this is 3 trips or maybe 2 trips to Bonefish. If you're drinking margaritas or you're going to have a martini, this is 2 trips. 2 trips to Bonefish for $200, and you're going to have a great time. You're going to have a lot of fun. So, that's one way to look at it. Like it's literally $200. And most times if you don't like something, if you buy it from Best Buy, you just return it if you don't like it. If the camera quality really burns you, you can just return it. And there's that. I spent $200 on gambling to Notre Dame to win. And they lost against Northern Illinois. See, there you go. You blew $200. That could have been a Neo. Toothless hooker for 2 hours. I don't know. That may seem a little... I think they raised their rates. You may want to double check that. Pricing may vary depending on location and amount of teeth. Funny, no, I get the title now. I think it's worth the wait for something that you'll never know existed versus worth the wait to buy a drone you had your eye on. The Air 2S and the Mini 3, if you're in a rush to buy a drone, and there's no budget, I would buy the Mavic 3 or the Air 3. That would be the drones that I would purchase if I had no budget set. That would be what I would buy if I wanted something to have like future proof. But if I have drones and I just want to have fun, or if I don't want to have a huge investment in a drone, then yeah, the Neo's a great option to buy. If you don't have a high expectation of the quality that you're going to get, then the Neo is fantastic to buy. Again, it's just $200 for the drone and a battery. Of course, if you want to have a lot of fun, you're probably going to have to spend a little bit more. Goggles, RC, maybe some additional batteries. So in the end, you're still probably spending over, $600 or so. You're probably spending almost $800. I digress. There's that. The only other drone I felt like it was a good deal was the Unique Breeze. I had a Unique Breeze. I bricked the Unique Breeze transferring files to my computer. I'll never forget that. It just locked up. God bless Unique. They're gone. Bye, Unique. Dobo, you think the camera is good enough for social media? I'm the wrong person to ask that because I have high expectations of what I expect out of a camera. I am a sensor slut. I love to have the highest resolution. I love to have the best quality out of my cameras, and I want to deliver my clients the best possible image as a final result. I don't feel like the Neo's camera delivers that great final result. I don't feel like it's good enough. If it's my socials and I'm just posting something for fun, sure, yeah, it could be good enough if I'm just posting it for fun. But if I'm doing something professionally, no. No. And if a professional thinks that that is good, they aren't a professional. That's what that's my take on that. Enchanted Life Pat said, I see people saying they were going to use it for a wedding. Here's the thing, too. Here's the thing about the Neo that I think people don't realize. This little thing is loud. It's loud. It's not like a little loud. It's loud. It just has a little bit different pitch than the Avata, but I still feel like it's equally as loud as an Avata. Matter of fact, I feel like the Avata 2 right here, the Avata 2 can almost sometimes sound quieter. I mean, you put the two side by side, for this little thing to be almost as loud as the Avata 2, that is pretty freaking wild. I mean, you can see the size difference. They just dwarf one another. I mean, they just absolutely dwarf one another. So I don't know. It seems loud. I was flying at a park, and I had a lady walk up to me, and she asked me like what I was doing, what that was. She's like, I heard that thing from all the way there. She wasn't asking me to leave. She was just like, what is that thing? It's so loud. I was like, really? You think this is loud? I'm like, I guess I sort of agree with you because I can hear it. It's got a really high pitched sound to it. So, I mean, some people still think it's loud. I think it's loud, personally. Is it for teenage girls? I mean, they're not gonna. I don't think they'll break it. I mean, I let my kid fly it. They didn't break it. The original press kit we were sent implied it was designed to meet flying over people requiring, not with the camera. What, Ken, are you talking about the Neo? Because this doesn't have remote ID. So in order to be able to fly over people, theoretically, this needs to have remote ID to be able to operate over people. So I don't think so. How many influencers are going to start posting videos without a 107 because of the Neo? I mean, so here's the thing when it comes to that. It honestly truly is a absolute gray area when we start looking at, YouTube and posting videos with this. Because in the court, if it ever did go to court, I could see it being lost. I can see the FAA not winning that argument. And if that was the case, there would be many more fines handed out to influencers. Now, I'm not telling everybody to go out there and try to make money with this and post about it, but I'm just playing devil's advocate here that name one person that has posted just a normal video and has, besides Mikey, that don't count, but that has had a fine. Like it just doesn't happen unless you break an infraction. Like unless if you break a regulation that they deem reckless, I feel like they just don't really have the resources to track down every single individual. They just don't. They don't have the resources as of right now. And I don't think that that's at the top of their mind. Obviously, they're going after those people that are doing something egregiously stupid. I feel like that is where they are going after people. So that's just me. That's just me being me. Yeah. I mean, there's countless people. Exactly. You look at iJustine. Does she have her 107? Probably not. Probably not. Now, I don't want to assume that she doesn't, but I'm just going to go out on a limb here. And I'd say you can look it up in the Airman Registry. So the Airman Registry has everybody's name that has their 107 that is current. If you knew the person's name, you knew the person's last name, you can easily search by the state and figure out if they are certified to operate an aircraft. You know what I mean? So are you calling the Neo bumpers shrunken rib riders? No, I'm calling them snug riders. We're not calling them rib riders. We're calling them snug riders. They're snug riders because they're so small and cute, and they're snug riders. There are snug riders. Does Justine have 107? That I don't know. I don't know. You could just go to the airman. We would need to know her first name. What is it? Justine. What is her Ezra? I can't even spell. I know it starts with an E. It's a wild name. But you can just go to the Airman Registry and you can look up that information. You can look up information. So there you go. She does not, and there's that. I played with it today on my scooter. I was impressed. Good deal. You can't get insurance on it. Yeah, I mean, for $200, I mean, if you wreck it, I would hope that you probably can just buy another one. I don't even know if it'd be worth putting Care Refresh on something this tiny. $200, you just buy another one. It's almost as much as almost as much as Care Refresh in some instances. We don't have remote ID in the UK, so we can fly it like we would at sub 2. That's awesome. Yeah, the US, they put all these wild ass restrictions everywhere. So there's that. Did that about a year ago. You'd be surprised who doesn't, but act like they do. Really? Tell me like, oh, I could go down a rabbit hole right now and I would just send him into a frenzy, a tizzy. I could, because I know a lot of people that don't have their 107 operating a business, real estate business, making money, parading like they understand the rules and regulations, but yet break them every single flight. I know a few people. I may even be related to somebody. For the right price, I'd just throw them under the bus, back them over it. I'd back them over it like 5 times. I'd put that bitch in reverse. Beep, beep, beep. Beep. Back it right over. Back it right over. I would even cut my nose to spite my face if I had to in the instance of that. Scumbag he is. But that's none of my business. That's none of my business. But I could. I should. I should. Maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I will. Fuck it. All right. Got mine today from UK Amazon. God bless the UK. People in public are in awe. I have got Lance to fly each time. The drone has a huge issue on the consumers. You can cover the GPS and send it in the air in a TFR zone. Wow. That is interesting. Not shocking, but interesting, because when I've been inside of houses, it obviously doesn't really have GPS inside of a house. And I was inside of a home near an airport and it took off just fine. So I would have to agree with you that if the GPS is covered, it will let you take off, because it did it to me. And I was like literally right near the airport inside that home that I was filming. That little, it just took off inside the home and I didn't have to do any authorizations, nothing. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm about to train a local estate agent on how to use a drone in business. If I can help him wherever he needs, it'd cover for him. Oh, that's nice of you. Does YouTube charge you for the YouTube plaque on the wall, or do they send it to you for free? No, actually, they send it to you for free. They don't. You'll get a notification when you make that criteria. You go on there and you just select your thing and whatever name you want to make it say, and there's that, and then they send it to you. So no, they don't charge you for that, which is sort of cool. I'm sure that costs them a good amount of money to some extent. Getting caught up here on the questions. Why did the chat do that? See Mr. Eddie Nunez in the house. So it seems like everywhere, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't even think that Canada does have these in their stores. So there's nothing even stopping somebody from getting one from Canada if they want it to. That's going to be an interesting thing if this ban happens. If Canada is still able to get DJI products, if we would be able to import them into the States at that point. I wonder if that's going to be a thing. My son is currently visiting his grandmother in Norway, so I'm going to get him to pick me up one, plus the non-US combo package. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is the first time we've ever had this. I really can't think of a DJI release where this was this bad. Actually, the DJI Mini had a shortage for a while, but it was released at the same time simultaneously as everywhere else. This is the first time we've ever had an issue where we didn't get a simultaneous global release. So that is pretty interesting. Panda Drones 413, what's going on, man? Lon, you're willing to go to Canada to pick up a Neo. Well, if you can go there, you can bring a few over. I would absolutely do it. And then you can mark them up. But you could sell them for $375, Lon. $375, and people will probably buy them. Why certain competitors in my market advertising Part 107 but not? You know, that, Stoney, is false advertising. I mean, I would take offense to that personally. If I was in a market like that where there was a Oh, wait a second. Oh, if there was, that is false advertisement. Well, the problem's going to sort itself out. The problem will sort itself out. Would people in the UK be able to buy all the attack drones the US LA can't use anymore? That I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see what happens when this goes to Senate. When it goes to Senate, and then we get a final, like, sort of an understanding. So right now, here's what's happened with everything as far as the ban goes. Went to House strummed up another version of this. It's going to go back to the Senate, and if it doesn't get accepted by the Senate, it's going to go back to the House. So inevitably, it's going to die somewhere, or it's going to get accepted as it is. I don't know which way it's going to be, but there is definitely some opposition in the Senate against this, which is helping us because that is the final power at B to make this a reality. It is I mean, this is for a SWAT team. If you wanted to launch this as a SWAT team, and you can fly it, you know, with the FPV RC3 and the goggles, this is fantastic. Now, it does alarm me a little bit that the vision position sensors do struggle in low light, and there's that problem that it could have, because obviously the sensors at the bottom of both these are very different. This has two actual physical cameras. I mean, this has got cameras, but they're not as big or as great as what's on the Avata. Plus, the Avata has like this infrared sensor on the underneath as well, which is helpful at telling its position. This doesn't have that for obvious reasons. Now, if they make a second generation of this, maybe they can make it $50 or even $100 more and add a little bit more technology to it that will make it even much more usable. But I think it's cool nonetheless, even if the camera sucks. I still think it's cool. Should I buy a Neo if I already have the Avata 2? Okay. So here's the thing. If you have the Avata 2 and you don't know how to fly in manual with the Avata 2, so you don't know how to fly manual, then buying the Neo is a good idea because you can learn how to then flying manual and save your Avata from the crashes. That would be a reason why. You got to think of this. You can use this sort of as the stunt double, right? You can use this sort of as a stunt double, fly this, crash this, and it almost feels guilt-free. Get to the understanding where you understand how to fly manual, and then you can graduate back to the Avata knowing that you're not going to destroy an $800, $900 drone. That would be how I would use it. That would be a reason why I would buy the Neo. If I already had the Avata and I want to learn how to be able to fly manually, then that's where the Neo would really be absolutely a great purchase, because you're again then protecting your more expensive purchase. So that's where that makes sense in my honest, humble opinion. So I'm sorry guys, I'm trying to read here. My allergies have been absolutely crushing me since I got back from Vegas. What's up? Would say the 4K is as good as the Action 4? What, Scott, what do you mean the 4K? I just want to clarify your question there. What's going on, Maddie? You buy it for me for $50? No. I'm still stuck in 2021 with an Evo 2 Pro. The Evo 2 is fine. Like, here's the thing. If you're doing photos, doing a lot of photos and, minimal video, then the Evo 2 is still just fine for doing photos. It's going to be more than acceptable. That's exactly what I'm doing. I have the Avata 2, and I'm going to get the Neo to learn manual. And that is honestly the best way to do it. Because honestly, I will say this. Flying a smaller drone, like a 3-inch drone, in my opinion, learning manual is a little bit harder with the smaller drone. They're a little more squirrely. But I don't get that feeling necessarily. I don't get that really necessarily as it's not as bad. Okay, I got you. Scott Rue says, is the 4K of the Action 4 as good as the 4K of the Neo? The 4K on the Action 4 is so much better than the Neo. The Neo's 4K, I would honestly say it's not even as good as the Mini. The original Mini, the Mini, I don't even think it's as good as that. It's just not, here's what it is. It like over HDRs, like everything, it's like lifting the shadows and then adding contrast. I think they could fix it. They could totally fix it if they fix the bitrate writing to the internal in storage. Now, what that will do, unfortunately, is enhance or increase the amount of storage that it writes. You know what I need to do? And something that I didn't even look at was I didn't even look at the Neo, the files. Let me look at that. I want to look at the Neo file and see. I want to see what the bitrate actually was. So here's where the heck did I put the file for that? I don't think I put it in that folder. Let me see. Did I put it on my desktop? I may have deleted it. I wanted to actually see, if the claim bitrate was actually in the metadata, because that could be the problem in itself, is that if they're turning back that bitrate that it's writing and it's creating a lower quality image, that could be a possibility. That really could be a possibility. It's tough to say, though. Yeah, so yes, while they say it's 4K 75 bits, I don't believe it's actually 4K 75 that's being written to the actual internal storage, because the quality is just not very good. So 70 and again, the bit rate will really dictate how fast it captures information. So information that it's gathering, it's capturing, that's being written. Theoretically, the bitrate won't change the quality too much, but it will depict on how fast it captures the information. So I think a lot of the problem we're seeing is that if it has a slower bitrate recording to the internal storage, we're seeing artifacting because it's not able to capture that information as fast as it needs to be written to the card. So we're getting artifacting. Maybe not necessarily true noise, but what we're seeing is artifacting. And that was what I was trying to point out. Inside that house, there was a lot of artifacting in that file that I had uploaded. There's actually a full resolution file. You can go ahead and download it and check it out for yourself. But you'll see the artifacting. And if you pay attention to the cherry wood cabinets, the cherry wood cabinets had the most amount of artifacts out of, I think, almost all of the images. So that could be something maybe solved with bitrate. I think ultimately they're going to go back, they're going to fix the firmware, and then the camera will be much better than what it was. I think enough of people have complained about it. I've not shut up about it. And I think they're just like, well, let's see what we can do to put a Band-Aid on this and get that fixed. And I think we will see a fix on that before it even hits the States, which will make a lot of people very happy. Do you know why we are delayed in the U.S. adding remote ID? I don't know. They didn't say anything. They never gave us any indication. They just said that when this announcement happened that it wouldn't be a U.S. release and that stay away from committing to time frames that it would be available because they didn't know. And they don't tell us why. We don't know why. We can ask. They're not going to tell us. And I don't really push that envelope very much because, I mean, you can sort of read the temperature of the room and sort of figure out why. What's going on, Sleek Hobbies? Good to see you, man. The Neo footage doesn't even look as good as the DJI Spark. But now you'd be very surprised at how many people believe that the footage looks okay. People believe that the footage looks okay. So I don't know. It's like twofold. I think I still, no, I don't. I brought that SSD home. I had an SSD. I loaded up all the footage onto an external drive. What I was going to do is I was going to see if I still had it. And then basically just go through it line by line with you all. But I don't have it here. No, I brought the footage home like an idiot. Maybe do I still have a, oh, you know what? I still have one of the files. I still have one of the files here. Okay, I have the file that I was looking for. So here's a file. So here's one of the files I have. Let me go to the, because Apple's really good about metadata. So let's go line by line here. So I am going to, let me share my screen here too. So that way you can see what I see. Desktop. Did that do anything? No, it didn't do anything. Am I frozen? I'm frozen. Nope. That's not it. Desktop. There we go. All right. So here's the file here. And I apologize because this may not let me blow this up. Let me see. No, it's not even letting me zoom. I was going to try to blow this window up. Let me see if I could just expand it. Nope, won't even let me expand it. So I'll go line by line. This is the metadata on the this is the metadata on it. So it's 3840 by 2880 because it's 4:3. HEVC is the codec. HD 1:1:1. So the color profile could be the problem too. It's not even like a 4. It's not even like 420. So it's like Rec 601, I believe. I forget what it is, but the color profile is HD 1:1. So that's a problem in itself. Like that in itself is a whole nother problem. Let me see if there's any other data that I can find here. It's 908 megabytes, but it's not telling me any more info about this. So I can't actually see the overall bit rate, but let me just grab the file now so I can show you what I was talking about. So here's let me drag this file here. Let me open this up. Let me drag this window here. So this is the raw file. And you can see, like, here's the noise that I'm talking about. Like right over here. I don't know if you can see this, but I'll try to expand this window. Maybe this makes it a little easier to see. But here's all the noise that I'm talking about. You have like where it's almost not even noise. It's almost like it's not being, the information is not being written correctly. It's like it's a weird digital noise. So when you come back this way, it's very apparent right here. You can see like here, these blotches aren't really blotches on the cabinet. These cabinets don't have blotches like that, which is odd. And you can really see it. It shifts. Like the noise on the cabinets shift as I move. You can see like there is no black anything. It's just blurring it all together because it doesn't have enough of color depth. Even here, you shouldn't see any of this information here. Again, now we're talking about a $200 camera, but I would have thought at the very least it would be almost as good as the O3 Air unit. And if you come into here, look at all this. This is all crazy noise right here. This is not passable. People are like, oh, that's totally acceptable for professional work. Well, let me know what market you are in. If you think that this is acceptable, let me know what market that you are going to use this in so I can start building out a business there and absolutely fuck you up. Because if you think this is good and your clients are okay with this shit, please let me know what market you're in. I want to set up camp in your market because it's going to be like taking candy from a baby. Now, as we get upstairs, it gets better because you got a little bit more light. There's not so much mixed lighting. So notice here, we don't have any real mixed lighting until here. So as long as you don't have mixed lighting, it is okay. It can be okay. But if you look at this corner here where the staging is, look at this corner. It's just blurring it all together. That's not good. So again, but people thought that this is okay. People think that this is okay. This is not acceptable. Like, if you're going to use this professionally, it's just not. And it was never designed to be a professional camera. I want to state that clearly. But as it pertains to real estate, like, that's just not okay. Like, all right, if you're looking at it through a phone, you're still going to be able to pick up on these details, especially like when you're competing against companies like Way Up Media. So Way Up Media, they do a lot of FPV fly-throughs, and they're using good cameras to be able to do that. They're using the latest GoPros, whether it be decased or not. It's just, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. And I'm just saying I wouldn't do it because it's not something you're going to be proud of. Don't do it because you can. That's not the reason to do something. You do something because you should do it because you want to put your best foot forward. This ain't it. You know what I mean? This just ain't it. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on that. Hopefully that clears some of that up, because I've gotten a lot of comments on that video. They're like, "Oh, it's totally fine. No, it's not, dude. No, that is not good. Not for professional work." It is better than the Tello. Yes, Eric, you're absolutely right. It is definitely better than the Tello. That is true. It's definitely better than the Tello. EEP drone footage says, "I'd cry if someone came to my big job or wedding with that." Correct. You got to think about the client you are delivering something to. Now, if you're going to be funny about it, or an agent is going to do this themselves, if an agent or someone is going to use this themselves, then they're okay with that. And if they're just using it indoors, like the way that this could work is, if they want to use this indoors for it to fly around and follow them indoors, they can totally do that. They don't need a 107 so long as they stay under the roof of the house. The minute they leave that roof and they use this professionally, they need a 107. Furthermore, in the United States, this would need to have remote ID. So for all the guys that are like, "Oh yeah, I want to use it," you can't, because it doesn't have remote ID. Yeah, you can stick a module on this to make it compliant, but why? At that point, go buy a freaking Avata. I mean, the Avata is going to render you a better image. It's going to give you a better product right out of the gate. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, this is not what this was designed to have fun, not to be used to make money. And that could be a reason why, like I said, we don't see remote ID, because this is just really designed for fun. And that's okay. That is perfectly okay. Rap Motors, there are things that are in the works, actually. I know how much it can lift, so we are working. We're working. We are making things. Did we ever see a camera comparison to your Sony? I posted a reel. All right, prime example. I did a reel on that property. I did the reel. Let me put this back. I'll open this up. I actually did a reel on that property. So on that property, we did a reel. I'm just going to mute the music here. Let me go back to my desktop. So here's the reel that I did the same day I was there. This is the reel we did. So you can obviously see a huge difference in a Sony sensor, and why I would never use a drone like that to do these videos. So boom. We're now going to go inside the house. Now pay attention to the colors and the noise and the clarity. It's so different. We don't have that crazy artifacting. We don't have those weird blotchy things happening, because the sensor is capable of deciphering the dynamic range. It can figure it out. But this was the same house. I filmed this with the Sony camera. You can even see the walls are different. Everything is so much different, way more clarity. So then when you look at it on the Neo, it's totally different. So again, that's where having the right camera, the right sensor, the right everything is so important when it comes to doing these jobs correctly. I would never deliver a client something less than less than perfect in that regard. I would just never do it. Does not make sense from a standpoint of reputation. So that's the comparison that you would need to see when you look at, from Neo to a professional camera. So hopefully now that makes sense, now that you've seen that result based upon the other result. And everybody's like, oh my God, that's so acceptable. Well, if they would have saw that, then they'd be like, so now you have a baseline. You have a little bit of a comparison to say, yeah, you're right. Post the footage of the lift test. I am waiting, Lon. There's a very good reason why we're waiting. You should know I'm smarter than that. So the Action 2, it can lift-ish. It gets very top-heavy. It doesn't like things being put on it. So it has a very finite amount of weight that it could lift. Do you think DJI will release a Neo Pro? Not this year, they wouldn't. I mean, they may. Maybe they say, hey, yeah, there's enough interest in this. There's enough purchasing of this drone. We're going to release a Neo Pro. Maybe they do release a Neo Pro based upon everyone's interest. That is a strong possibility. I never rule anything out that DJI does. It is a very strong possibility that they could release a Neo Pro in the near future. Will we see it? We won't know. We'll have to wait and see until after the holidays and everything. Russ at 51 Drones will probably beat you to posting a lift video. I mean, maybe, but I mean, there's reasons why I don't, because I'm collecting information, because unlike him, I'm not just seeing if it can, I'm seeing what it will and for how long, and does it affect the stability of the aircraft, because people may not like the camera, but have a purpose for this. So I come at it from an engineering standpoint, not an influencer standpoint. My mentality, anytime I get a product in my hand, is always to come at it from a state of engineering and how I can improve on the product, not as an influencer. Influencer is always second. Use case is always first for me. The Avado is the Neo Pro. Yeah, I mean, yeah, basically, if you want Pro, you're going to buy the Avado. Now, like I said, there could be a market for such a small drone like the Neo. There could definitely be a market for a Neo Pro. I would love to see it. I would love to see it. I would absolutely love to see a sub 250 grams small drone like that. That would be absolutely epic. Obviously, it needs to have remote ID. Another thing you can think about is, including remote ID may only be sufficeable for the United States, and there could be reasons why they decided not to. So, very weird. Very weird. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the guts of a tiny whoop with 04 would be interesting. I mean, theoretically, you could take these guts and put this on a micro whoop and do whatever you want. But I mean, you're still bound to the power that this ESC and flight controller is capable of delivering. You're still bound to the power of these batteries. These batteries are, they're small. They don't put out a lot of power. So you're still bound to all of those things. I mean, again, I think, as a drone pilot, many people just want to modify things. People want to tinker. They want so much more out of what they have. I mean, maybe it's just how we will always be. We'll always want to tinker with it. We'll always want more out of that product. That's my take on that. We're always going to want more than they're willing to give us straight out of the gate. I think it's a great first drone to learn how to frame shots and editing my GoPro footage. It is a great drone to learn on. It is a great beginner drone. I've said that 100 times. It definitely is a great drone to learn on. A better camera. Watching on your phone, the quality is enough. See, that's the problem. That statement, think about what you said. You said it's enough. No, it is not enough. In a world where cameras are so good, Your iPhone is so good. Your mobile device is so good. Enough doesn't win. Enough just doesn't win. Do I believe there's some software issues here holding this one back? Yeah, 100%. I think they need to flush out whatever software issues they have, but just being good enough, that doesn't work today. That doesn't work in 2024. If I just woke up every day and said, you know what, fuck it, my work is just good enough, I would lose clients. You know why I continually take clients from people and I continually make money and grow a brand? Because I never said, that's just good enough. Nobody fucking pays for just good enough. If everything is just fucking good enough, nobody, you know what? Just for saying such a fucking dumb thing, you're out of here. That is the dumbest thing to fucking say. Just good enough. You fucked your wife. Just good enough. You went to your job. Just good enough. You dropped the kids off. Just good enough. You grocery stored. Just good enough. You went to church. Just good enough. Fuck, you're just good enough. Fuck, you're just good enough. That's not good enough. Just good enough. Just good enough. I could have blew my nose with a Kleenex. That would have been just good enough, but I chose Bounty. Why? Because it's the quicker picker-upper. This is overkill to blow my nose. My allergies are running rampant. I could have grabbed a pack of tissues. I could have used toilet paper because that was just good enough. But you know what? I went right over there, grabbed the whole roll of paper towels because I know that this is 3-ply paper towel. It is the strongest of the strongest paper towel. Just good enough. Just good enough. Fuck you, Mr. Shorts. You're out of here too. That's not an opinion. That's a statement. Fuck you. Welcome to Original Dobo. Anybody else got something fun to say? I'll fuck you up right there. You'll be on the ejectocito, cuz. Adios. Come on. Come on. You work for Insta360. Fuck you. Work for Insta360. I work for Insta360. They still owe me money. I knew you knew that was coming, but he just had, that one had it coming. But these are the same people face to face. I'm just as much of a loose cannon in person as I am online. So that should tell you everything you need to know. Fucking motherfuckers, just good enough. Just good enough. Ha! It's just good enough. I think I need to take some more Dayquil. I need to take some more Dayquil. That's that. I think this stream was just good enough. Yep, the stream was just good enough.
Maybe I'll just get out my head and focus on what I know's coming. Yeah. 'Cause I can't fall asleep at night without seeing my dreams. Delusion and reality, I'm somewhere in between. These voices in my head get loud and they keep telling me that I'm a fool for trusting in these wings. But maybe, baby, this what flying feels like. 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 Maybe all my exes is drinking themselves crazy tonight. Maybe I should call and say, told you I'd be right. Wondering how long it was before you realized the biggest mistake of your life, and now you're paying the price. Oh, is it confidence or confusion? Either Anywhere I feel like I ain't never losing. Your opinion of mine, you know just what I'm choosing. I got
Yeah, that's the words of a person that will never be a success.
Just good enough.
Yep. That's somebody that'll never be a real success in life.
That sent me a little bit over the rails there.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. I'm like on step 6 or 7, but I'm working on it. But that one just really it sent me. It sent me.
Now we're on.
It sent me.